Hey guys, so I'm finally putting together my video for cloth diapering 2 at Disney. I wanted to do this sooner, but I lost my file information and my pack list, and I wanted some pictures of just the cloth diapers to show you, and that didn't work out. I have a couple pictures from my separate file of all of our actual vacation photos and such, and I have a couple pictures from online that I posted, but other than that, I can't find anything else, so I apologize that this video took so long to make and that I'm missing some components that I wanted to add. However, I do remember what I took. I don't remember exact brands and things, but I do remember what I took. And I want to get this video done before I forget. So let me preface by saying that this was a 9-day trip down to Disney. 2 travel days by plane. And a solid week at Disney. We stayed at the Contemporary Resort. It was a gift from my dad. He paid for all of his grandkids to go, and of course the parents had to go too, because he wasn't going to take care of them while we were down there. That would have been overwhelming for him, even if he tried. So it was not just my family, but a bunch of us went down. Compliments of my dad. Thank you, Dad. And my youngest daughter just turned 2 the day that we left, actually, and my youngest son was then 7 months old. So they were both still in cloth full-time when we went. And of course, you know, we're talking, it was Disney World, so it was Florida at the end of August. So I broke this video down into kind of chunks, so I apologize if it seems kind of done in pieces and haphazardly put together and whatever, but there's no way I can do this whole video all in one swoop. So, to begin, what did we do the night before we left? So anybody who cloth diapers knows that when you are cloth diapering, it takes a little bit more planning and think ahead than disposables may. And I mean that in this instance, people may wonder, okay, well, what did you do with the diapers from the day before or whatever? Did you take 30 diapers with you? How did all that work? Well, we left for Disney bright and early at 2 a.m. And I knew I didn't want to leave any dirty diapers behind. Oh gosh, I can't even imagine what it'd be like coming back 9 days later to dirty diapers sitting in the pail. So that being the case, when I put my kids to bed, I put them to bed a bit early because I knew we were going to be up at 2 a.m. I didn't want to put them to bed too early because I wanted them to sleep during a lot of the rides, like most of the trip. But I did put them to bed a little early because 2 a.m. is hard on anybody. And once I got the younger 2 into their nighttime diapers, I did a load of laundry. That meant that I didn't go to bed until probably, gosh, I want to say it was like 9:30 before I could even go to bed. You know, I didn't sleep. But I ran a load of diapers and made sure that they were hanging to dry because I don't have a dryer. So I made sure that they were hanging on my basement line, not outside, but on the basement line so that they were inside. So I knew it would take longer for them to dry, but they've got 9 days before I'll be back. So they got plenty of time to dry. I left my box fan on in the basement. I hung the diapers that night so that the only thing I would have to take me when I left on vacation was the nighttime diaper, which went right into the wet bag that I was taking with me to travel with us. So, how did I pack all that stuff? If we were just taking cloth diapers for 1 full-time, this would have been mad easy, but we were talking about 2 full-time and cloth. One thing we looked into was checking a bag, and we realized that for the airlines we were taking, things have changed since I last flew years ago. Years ago, you used to have a checked bag and a carry-on you were allowed, and this time, or this recent trip we went down, I learned that it's not uncommon now for having to pay to check a bag. So we didn't want to pay the $50 fee if we could avoid it. Each of my kids had a paid seat on the plane, which meant we were allowed collectively 6 carry-ons. But then we also read and discovered that purses don't count as carry-ons and diaper bags don't, and we were allowed a diaper bag for each my son and my daughter. That meant we were allowed upwards of 9 bags. And instead of taking a normal purse, I took a mini backpack, and that was my purse. So I had 2 diaper bags, 6 carry-ons, and backpack purse. So we decided to utilize one of the carry-ons as our diaper bag. and we put almost all the diapers we needed into one of those carry-ons, like the maximum size we were allowed to take. We took and we stuffed that thing full of diapers, like stuffed it full of diapers. Whatever diapers did not fit, there was very few that did not fit, and honestly, they were the ones we were going to need for the day, so we figured we'd stuff those into the diaper bags. So that worked out really, really well. We were able to take all the diapers that we needed in one carry-on and in the 2 diaper bags that we were allowed to take. If I had just one in diapers, it would have been more than easy for me to fit everything I needed into just one suitcase without utilizing vacuum seal bags. But because we had so much and we were trying to fit it in such a small place, we used the vacuum seal bags because the little bit of space that they freed up was like essential to making everything fit. So this was a really good and a really bad thing. We saved money, but it hurt carrying all those bags. Because you figure our oldest was only just turned 5, our youngest was 7 months old, and our kids were only in between that. They were not capable of carrying their own bag very well without falling over. So me and my husband had to carry all those bags. And my son was in an infant carrier. So we had 9 bags and an infant carrier. So that was, and we were plane hopping too. Ugh. Yes. So, it was kind of a good and a bad thing. My kids, the reason we were able to make that work was because that was one nice thing about my kids being younger. Their clothes were much smaller. I was able to compress their clothes, and they used regular backpacks. We figured that would actually be easier because of having all those things with wheels would be too much for us. We needed something we could throw on our backs. And so we could use a full-size backpack. And that worked out really well, actually, and I would not have changed that otherwise. One backpack had the boys' clothes, one backpack had the girls' clothes because they were so small, and I was already planning on washing, so we took like, I forget if it's 3 or 4 days worth of outfits, and then the shoes that they needed, and that fit into one full-size backpack. So that actually worked out really well, and then my husband and I each had our own backpack, and then we had an extra, that had like oddball stuff in it that we needed to take, like, you know, detergent and such. So that's how we packed everything. But what did I take? So when I was doing my research into taking cloth diapers on vacation, I actually did not find a whole lot of information. And when it came to looking up cloth diapers at Disney, I couldn't find anything short of, why bother taking cloth diapers? Well, because my daughter is rash prone, and because I'm about to head down to Florida in August. Not about to take disposable diapers and have her spend the entire time with a bleeding butt. That doesn't sound fun to me, and I would not put that on her just for my own convenience. So, that's part of the reason I'm making this video. I can't find hardly anything, and, I did find one piece of advice though, which I think really sums up the advice of traveling with cloth diapers. Take what you know works. Don't try new things. Vacation is not the time you want to discover something doesn't work. So, and I learned that the easy and the hard way. So, I had to keep in mind, okay, well, I'm going down to Florida. It's going to be humid. It's going to be hot. How do I want to wash these? How quickly do they need to dry? Do they need to I want to make sure, I'm like, okay, well, I need something that's going to dry quickly, because whether I use the dryers or I hang it, it needs to dry quickly for the sake of my time and my money. I also need something that's going to wash out really well, because if I try to use their machines, you know, what's going to be the most successful to wash out well? Excuse me. What's going to be cool? What am I going to need in case my kids rash? Things like that. I had to keep all of these things in mind. And of course, you know, what works for my kids. How long are they going to be in these diapers? And like, so forth. So with all of that being said, I put together a list of the things that I took with me. First of all, I took a small can old formula tin that I ripped the label off and relabeled powdered detergent for the sake of security. Took some Gain powder. That's what I normally use, so I took some Gain powder detergent. I also labeled it to mention that 1 scoop is good for 1 day's worth of diapers. Now this is keeping in mind I had 2 in diapers, so it's kind of like the equivalent of 2 days worth of diapers, which is for 1 child. I also noted that 6 scoops is equal to the line 3 of the regular detergent scoop. Because the scoop I'm talking about is the regular formula scoop that comes with the can. I just left the formula scoop with it because that works. So you'll notice, and that was because I was using this detergent not just for diapers, but for all my laundry. Because I was planning on washing laundry while I was down there. You'll notice saran wrap. That keeps the lid much more snug on. But it also kept my scoop from getting lost in the detergent. So if you hate digging through detergent or any kind of powder or anything like I do, you can put saran there, put the detergent scoop in it, and then close it, and it will keep it separated. I had this about 3/4 of the way full and almost gone when I got back. So that's how much I ended up using while I was down there for a week with the cloth diapers and doing regular laundry. And I apologize about my throat. I got stuff in it. So I took that much detergent with me. And I wanted to do powder detergent because I wanted it to carry with me. Obviously you can't only take so many liquids on, so that's why I took powder detergent too. I took a camp clothesline that I found off Amazon. They have ones that come with clips, but I wanted to take my own clothespins because, well, I already have the clothespins. And I like these camp lines. They appeal to me because they have the hooks and they can hook into themselves and you can rig them almost anywhere. So I figured, okay, cool, I can rig this somewhere in my room to hang diapers, which was true. Very, 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 very handy, I think. I also took my octopus clip. I call it an octopus clip. It's like octopus clips, whatever. It's not an actual octopus one. The octopus ones are more like, the arms that come out with the clips hanging off of them. This one's really just square. I forget what it's like. I forget what they call it, but it's there. But that is super, super handy for regular laundry and for diaper laundry, especially when you're dealing with laundry that had, like diapers that had inserts. Really, really handy. Even flats. I've hung flats off of them before too. It works just fine. I love it. It's a space saver. It hangs a lot. So I definitely wanted to take that with me, and I took it. I took 2 hanging wet bags. I took Diaper8 brand because they're double layer PUL, and to me that was essential considering I was going to be hauling these diapers across the resort looking for laundry facilities. I took 2 smaller wet bags for travel purposes and for in park and things like that, standard wet bag usage. I took disposable liners with me, and I'll talk more about that in a bit. I took 2 wool covers. Here's one of them. I had it made for the thing. The other one is pictured. It's so cute. I love Goofy. He's my favorite. I took 2 wool covers, but I also took a collection of about somewhere between 6 and 8 PUL covers. That's one thing I can't remember exactly what all I took. But I know I wanted to take both because I knew when my son has his days where he just poops a lot, nothing contains it all except the PUL covers. So I wanted to make sure I had that on hand, especially in case those got soiled because wool takes a while to dry. So I also took 2 dozen bamboo flats, 24 bamboo flats. I was going to take cotton, but I figured bamboo was best because it was better to have the extra absorbency than to need to double up if that was avoidable, because otherwise I'd be going through twice as many diapers. And the bamboo holds a lot. I like the bamboo diapers a lot. I also took a collection of 20 pocket diapers and all-in-one diapers. It was 20 collectively of both pocket and all-in-one diapers. I took a changing pad, and then I took 1 Snappy with me. And then, I'm trying to think, I don't know if I'm forgetting anything, but I think that's all I took. So, oh, and rash cream. I took rash cream. I made a mix of hydrocortisone and clotrimazole cream, like foot fungus cream and hydrocortisone from the Dollar Tree, and just dump those tubes together. And that stuff, you can put a very thin layer on a rash. When it gets started, it clears it up really quick. It's like a miracle worker. It works really well for her, and a tiny bit goes a long way. Usually works within an hour. It can burn a little going on, but it's worth it to get the rash cleared up really quick. And it only proved necessary once. since when I was down there. So what did and what didn't work of those things that I took? So the detergent, this worked beautifully. This couldn't have worked better. I had this whole thing in a baggie when it was being transported, but just the lid never popped off in transport. The scoop always stayed out of the detergent. This amount filled up 3/4 of the way was the perfect amount for doing. We washed laundry once while we were down there, washed clothes once, or was it twice? Twice. While we were down there, and then we washed a couple. I took a couple baby blankets because some of my little ones can't sleep without them, and those got spat up on or whatever, and I would hand wash those in the morning and hang them on my clips, and they would dry really quick, and I could just put a tiny bit of this into the sink and wash it in the sink, things like that. This just worked out really well. It was the perfect amount of detergent. When it came to the camp line, it was wonderful. I was able to rig that thing in the bathroom, and I was also able to weigh down the chairs on the balcony and rig it on the balcony. Anybody who is familiar with like staying at apartments or staying in a hotel or things like that, they don't like when you drape towels and things over the railing. They don't mind if you hang things on the balcony, but you can't drape things over the railing. And so I was able to stretch that line across both chairs like twice. I think it's like 16.5 feet almost. And I was able to stretch it across the chairs twice and hang diapers from it on the one good day we had, and the diapers dried super quick, and it was great. It was nice to be able to rig that thing almost anywhere. I had that thing hacked up all over the place in the wrapped around everything all over the place in the bathroom, and had things hanging off them everywhere. So that worked out really well. 24 clothespins was actually, I thought was kind of overkill, and actually proved to be enough. I actually utilized all of them, and especially since I was hanging diapers by the corner tab, and instead of just draping them in half to save space. I don't normally hang that way because it can pull on the elastics a bit, but for just vacations purposes, it was fine. So that worked out really, really well as well. The clip that I keep calling the octopus clip, but it's not technically an octopus clip, that thing was like an essential. If you're diapering only one on vacation, you could probably get away with just something like that to go with you for hanging. But if you want the ability to move lines and things like better aeration or things like that, you can get the camp line. But honestly, the clips would be just fine, and all you'd probably need. Worked really well for us. I would not go on vacation again without that, that's for sure. The 2 hanging wet bags also worked out really, really well. They kept the stink contained, so the bathroom didn't stink, because I had them hanging. The one that was actively being filled was hanging on the, what's that thing called? It's like a robe hook across from the toilet, which is in its own little mini room kind of thing, which you can kind of see in pictures. But it was hanging in there, and when it was full, it was zipped shut and on the ground, and you wouldn't even know there was diapers in that bathroom because it kept the stink all contained. When I was hauling them across the resort, none seemed really the wiser that I had a whole bunch of soiled diapers in my bag. So it was nice having those. Definitely recommend double layer PUL, especially if you tend to put wetter diapers in the bag, because one layer of PUL just won't cut it when it comes to, like, especially if you like dunk and swish, or you have like a just soiled diaper, you put it in a bag and it can seep through if you only have like a single layer. So double layer to me is a must, and I'm glad I took those. And 2 bags was enough for us. If I had 1, I would do 1 bag, but having 2, I took 2 bags, and that worked out great. So, my face is itchy, and you're not helping. The disposable liners, giant flop. Remember when I said I learned the hard way and the easy way not to take things you're not familiar with? I am not 100% familiar with disposable liners, or I wasn't until I went on vacation, and it was just a big mess. I don't know why they weren't working for us, but every single time my kids had a bowel movement, the liner just kind of got wadded up in it and then lost in it, and then it just got caked all over. It was, I I could barely find it when I was changing the diaper, and it did not make cleaning the diaper easier. If anything, it made it harder. So I thought, well, this is pointless, and the disposable liners irritated her. She couldn't, like, she can't wear disposables because of the irritation. Well, the liners were doing the same thing. So that was a big flop. I would not, unless you have success with them, I would not take them with you. I was thinking this would make it easier on vacation because I could just flush them away. Being, you know, in a park or something, I wouldn't care so much about flushing them. At home, I'm not apt to flush disposable liners if I were to use them. But they did not work for us. I don't know why, it just didn't. It was a huge flop. It made a big mess. It just made things, she got rashed, and it was just, or irritated. She didn't really rash up, she got irritated. She had the start of irritation, and that's when I stopped using them. So, and that was even when she didn't poop. It would irritate her when she didn't poop. So, disposable liners, if you can make them work for you, great, but they flopped for me. I was trying to, when it came to the covers, the reason I took wool is because a lot of people aren't aware of the fact that wool is actually very, is like a temperature regulator. That's why sheep don't bake to death in the sun. It actually does a really good job keeping them cool, and it does the same exact thing on people. So the wool covers were really nice on days when my son was just wetting, because he would stay significantly cooler in the wool than in a POL cover. So much so that it was noticeable when I was changing his diaper that his whole lower belly and upper thigh region was just much cooler to the touch. So I think this, especially since when it evaporation has that cooling effect, that's like how those cooling towels work. It's a similar concept with wool too. When the wool's evaporating any moisture out, it has that same kind of cooling effect too. So this worked really well for him, but he had more poop days than I was anticipating, and so he ended up in POL a lot. But the wool was nice because I didn't have to wash it. All I had to do was lay it out in the room, let it dry, and use it again. It was, you know, it's self-cleaning because of the lanolin in it. And I took a little bit, I did forget to mention, I did take a little bit of Eucalyptus with me, the wool wash that has lanolin in it, in case I needed to spot clean or in case it got really soiled and I had to really clean it. It did not prove necessary, but it's good to have on hand if you take wool. I highly recommend, if you're going someplace warm and even tropical, take some wool covers with you if you can get them to work. Try them, make sure they work for you, and if they do, take them with you. They did a great job keeping him much, much cooler. So, and you know, the regular covers dried just really, really quickly, about just as quick as the flats did, pretty much. So, I could have a quick rotation. In fact, actually, if I wanted my covers to dry quicker, I could wrap them up in a towel, you know, things like that. I could expedite drying. So the POL covers were nice for his days where he was soiling and dried quickly and things like that. The 2 dozen flats, I took 2 dozen flats, and I have my paper here trying to keep me on track. 2 dozen flats worked really well. There went papers. As far as having a good number to have. By this point, my son was going through about somewhere between 8 to 10 diapers a day, depending on if he was pooping or not, really. If he wasn't pooping all the time, because he has his poop days, he would only go through maybe 6 or 7 diapers. So 2 dozen diapers would last him for several days. So that worked out really well. Because it allowed me to space out the washing as much as I wanted to. I could also fold them different ways to accommodate whether he was wearing the wool or if he was wearing the POL covers. Like I could alter between pad folding or actually doing a kite fold. I could double them up if I wanted a diaper to last all the way through the park, which I'd done twice and it worked really well. And they dried really quickly. They washed really well. They washed really easily with little effort, and that was the reason I took them. And it was just, even though it was bamboo and it took a little more to wring out, it was it was way better than trying to wring out pre-folds or anything, and it worked really, really well. So I think the flats were definitely a good choice in this case. For my daughter, she averaged about 6 to 7 diapers a day, whether she pooped or not. And she normally wore pocket diapers. So I kept with the pocket diapers with her. I forgot to switch out some of the pre-folds that were in her pocket diapers with flats to make it easier. It was okay, but it was a little bit of a nuisance washing the pre-folds. But the pocket diapers worked for her because they always worked for her. I then took the Grovia ones with me. I do remember taking them with me because they could fit both my son and my daughter, and they worked really well for overnights. So I definitely took those with me since I knew that was a good overnight solution for us. And they were easy to change. They were relatively easy to wash. Another thing, it may seem silly, but definitely take a changing mat. It's kind of embarrassing if you ever have to say, hey, there's poop or pee on the bed sheet and I need the bed sheets changed, or just have to say I need the bed sheets changed and then have to just be like, here's an extra tip, sorry, room service kind of thing. Just take a changing mat. And you gotta have one. I mean, whether you're in the park, whether you're in the resort, you don't have a designated changing place, take a changing mat. It's worth taking, just for cleanliness sake. They're also a lot easier to wipe down a mat than it is to try to clean off a bed sheet, or have to call room service and wait for them to change your sheets for you. As far as the snappies go, I was originally going to take 2, but then I figured, you know what, I've got the POL covers, and if the snappy breaks, which it didn't, I'm like, well, I can just pad fold and lay them in the POL covers, and that'll be that. Honestly, this was kind of stupid. Because even though it wasn't a problem for me, it wouldn't have been much space at all for me to add an extra snappy. So if you're using Boingos, snappies, whatever, take an extra set. It's not going to hurt anything. I was just being lazy, but I didn't have a problem. That doesn't mean you shouldn't take precaution. So as far as those diapers go, everything worked out really well. So how did it go with using them in the parks? When it came to using them in the parks, diaper changes stayed pretty minimal. With having 4 kids, 5 and under, we couldn't survive a full day in the park. And we had a full week there to enjoy the parks. So we decided to take it easy. We would go in usually approximately 9 a.m. or so. And then we would usually leave the park sometime between 1 and 3. I think the latest we stayed was 4, and we usually were back by about 2. 2 was like the normal time we were back. And that being the case, I was looking at maybe 1 change per child in the park on average. For my daughter, 1 change. For my son, 1, usually 1 change. If I put him in a good diaper, he would be good for the bulk of the trip. The one day I put him in a double diaper and he lasted the entirety of the trip, but it was one of the shorter days that we did that too. The most I've had to change him in the park was 3 times because it was one of his poop days. So when it came to using them in the parks, I'm like referring to my notes. I used to have this idea that taking all-in-ones was like the way to go. Like I had planned, I took the all-in-ones planning to use them if I couldn't get flats to work very well for us with changing them in the park. Now, for my son, when I was using him in the park and he was wearing the wool covers, he had the flats kite folded, mini kite fold. I used the mini kite fold for him. And so I pre-folded the flats and then folded them up and put them into my bag already folded, so I wouldn't have to sit there and try to like rig it while I was there in the park bathroom. It made diaper changes go really quick, really easy. It was using flats in the park actually kind of revolutionized my mentality towards taking cloth diapers public. I always had this mentality that cloth diapers were more of a hassle, and I was surprised at how it's really not much different than just changing at home. It's just the location is different. And of course, I'm not going to be dunking diapers into the toilet to get poop off out in public. I take those home, but just generally the experience of changing the diaper, it's not any different than at home. So I thought, you know, it's simple yet profounding how I've really worked this up to being such a hassle when it really was no different than being at home. So changing him out in the parks was easy peasy. There was only one grievance I had. It was when we went to Hollywood Studios and I got to the park. We had to go through security to get onto the bus, to get through security, to go into the park, only to get into the park and realize when he needed a diaper change that I didn't even have my diaper bag. Fortunately, I had my fanny pack. Don't be hating, fanny packs are awesome. And that had the money and everything in it needed. So I ended up going to one of those stands near the entrance of the park to pick up a bottle and what's it called? A pack of disposable diaper and wipes pack kind of thing that they sell. I can't remember if it comes with 1 or 2 diapers or what, or if it's just a diaper and a small pack of wipes. I think that's what it is. I can't remember. But I did buy that because I didn't have a choice. He needed to be changed, and it was going to. I knew it was going to take me at least an hour to get back because I have to hop on, wait for the bus, and then take the bus back, which proved to be true. So I changed him into the diaper, and he poop exploded. It's like he knew. I put him in a disposable, and he blew out. I am talking a puddle of poop in the stroller. Bad. It was bad. And I had to take him, I had to try to clean him up with what few wipes I had and clean the stroller up with what few wipes I had. And I had to put him in another disposable. I had to take him, and by that point I was like, I was a big emotional wreck because I done forgot everything. And I was like, I have to cut this day short. We enjoyed a little bit there. There wasn't a whole lot for me and the younger ones to do anyhow. So we were like, you know what, we're just going to head back. This isn't our park to be at. So we're going to go back and we're just going to go to the pool or something. So we were heading back. By the time I got back, about an hour later, his entire diaper region was red. I mean, like bright red. It was, and he was so upset. So that's when the rash cream came in handy, cleared him up really quickly. Within an hour, I cleaned him up. I let him air dry a bit before putting him back into a diaper. I put some of the ointment on him, which, by the way, that ointment is okay to use with cloth diapers, so without a liner. So I put some of that ointment on him. And then I put him in a flat diaper and a wool cover. And within an hour, he was cleared up and he was fine. But yeah, I couldn't help but think, oh yeah, these disposables, they're really helping me out, making things easy. I now have a puddle of poop I got to clean off my stroller, my son who's completely bright red. So, yeah, the only reason my cloth diapers didn't work at the park was because they simply weren't there to work at all. They just weren't there. So that was the only real troublesome day I had. Even though it rained heavily, like pretty much every single day, at least once, except one day. We didn't have any other issues with, diapers getting, like, we kept everybody pretty dry. Diapers didn't get too wet or soiled, no significant rashes or anything, especially from the cloth diapers. If anything, we had a little bit of irritation from the disposable liners, and we had a big old rash from the disposables, but nothing else. So as far as rashes go, even though it was really hot and really humid sometimes, and scorching even at the one day, it was, we had no issues with rashes. And the day that it was scorching, I actually had my son in a wool cover, and he stayed really cool. So using them in the park was pretty simple. Now I'm going to elaborate on using them in the contemporary resort. It wasn't any different than home, other than putting the dirty diapers in a wet bag instead of, you know, a diaper pail. And of course, washing and drying was different, which is the next topic. Look who woke up! You. So, when it came to washing and drying, of course, we left early on Friday morning. The only diaper that we took with us from home going on to vacation was the overnight diaper. And we knew that there were laundry facilities there at the Contemporary. So, by Monday, we left Friday early in the morning, and by Monday I had 2 full hanging wet bags from both of my kids. I mean, they were full. So I decided I was going to try out the laundry facilities. I would have sooner hand washed, but I wanted to try them and, you know, see if it was really worth it. Now, I often hear concerns about wash regular laundry first because there might be residue of something else left in the machines. And this sort of cracks me up a little bit because honestly, I wash regular, I wash my, like, I've heard people concerned about, well, you don't know if there's any softener left in there or bleach residue left in there or something like ridiculous things. And I keep thinking it's a washer. Okay, I use softener sometimes with all my other normal laundry. I don't like clean my washer before using, like, washing regular diapers. So why should I be concerned about using another machine? I don't know. And if you can make sense of that, you can comment below and let me know. But honestly, I don't see the difference between using a machine, a public machine, and a at-home machine, considering you wash a whole bunch of stuff with all different kinds of stuff. Like, I mean, unless you have a kid with, like, some serious sensitivities, I could see why you would want to do a regular load of laundry before diapers. But other than that, I mean, I wasn't really worried about using their machines. Now, I did pre-wash the diapers by hand before I took them. So I dumped them into the tub and gave them like a quick rinse and a quick wring and threw them back into the bags. And then I went on to Mission Impossible trying to find this place. And I even posted about it on Facebook. It was so hard to find this place, and I kept getting the worst instructions to get me there. I had to go into a separate building, and I felt like I was really invading on people's privacy when I finally found it, and I thought, this is it? Like, I feel like I shouldn't be here. So I found out that, or I discovered that they have a credit card machine that you can utilize. You can pay with a credit card to use their machines. They show you what machines are available, which ones are out of order, things like that. And it is $3 per load per machine. So their machines are small. The wet bag was normally for a side loading machine, optimal load size would be about 2/3 full. My one wet bag would fill that machine to probably closer to 3/4 full. So I knew it wasn't going to get optimally agitated, but the alternative was to divide it between 3 machines instead of 2, and you're talking $9 instead of $6. So I went ahead and just one wet bag fit into each machine, and I said, you know what, this will work. I got them cleaned. I was planning on hanging them to dry, but by the time my diapers were done washing, people had actually were regularly going in and using the dryers there for like small things, and they would have like 20 minutes left of time. Now the time doesn't wait. When you turn off the machine, that time still runs out. So those people weren't going to come back and like use the rest of their time for something else most of the time. So they would say, they actually offered it to me. They said, if you want to use what's left of these times on your laundry, that's fine with us. We don't care because we're not using it. So I actually got free dry time that way. In fact, several people did that for me. And so I was able to get most of my flats and pre-folds dry. Now stop moving that. Dry because, because people were giving me free dry time, which was awesome. I can't guarantee you'll get that each time, but it definitely helped and reduced the amount of laundry I needed to hang to dry. So, so cute. So that was, I realized from, you're so distracting. I realized from doing my pre-rinse though, here you go, be free, do your thing. I realized doing the pre-wash though, and also from taking baths and things like that, like I was really amused with how fast the tubs in the Contemporary Resort in the rooms filled and drained. I mean, my tub takes like 5 minutes to like fill up halfway, and these tubs take like 2 minutes to completely fill to like almost the top. Well, okay, not the top. I have an overflow valve, so up to the overflow valve, a max maybe 2 minutes to fill. It is fast. I was like, wow. Either I have really lousy water pressure or they have really incredible water pressure or both. So Wednesday rolled around, and even though I could have gone till Thursday waiting to do laundry again after I did it on Monday, it was the one day we had where it was like no rain, beautiful weather, and I knew I would be able to hang those diapers outside to dry really fast. So I decided to take advantage of that day, and when we came back from the park, I laid the kids down for a nap, and during their nap time, I hand washed diapers. So I did the pre-rinse, and I was just baffled by how fast it drained, and I did the regular wash. I used my hands, and I just massaged everything, basically. I just made sure everything got squeezed in a couple times, and if there was a spot that needed treated, I rubbed material against itself to kind of like scrub it. That worked really well, and it rinsed within I filled the tub up twice to rinse it, and that was more than enough. I could have probably only had to have rinsed it once because of how I used a good amount of detergent without going overkill. So it took me, when I went to use the machines, hauling these diapers across the resort. I mean, like, all these diapers, I'm hauling them across the resort. I got to take my kids with me because I can't leave them at the resort alone. The younger two, that is, and the older two who were with their daddy. I think they were swimming. So I'm like hauling these diapers and these kids across the resort, stuck in this boring room with these lousy cartoons that they weren't even interested in, that weren't amusing them. And I was stuck there for well over an hour, and I thought, this is miserable. So when I hand washed these diapers, I laid my kids down for a nap. I went into the bathroom, and in less than 15 minutes, I had all the diapers washed, and it didn't cost me $6 to do. And then I was able to wring them out and get them hung, and within an hour they were dry because it was so wonderful outside. So I was just, I was like, wow, I'm never using that facility ever again. It's so inconvenient. And it's just so much quicker to hand wash things myself, and just, yeah, I don't recommend the facilities. The machines, they're so far away, they're so expensive. It's just so easy to hand wash yourself, so it's like, why even bother? And I did the regular laundry too. I was like, well, it's such a beautiful day, and I can rotate the line out on the deck, which, by the way, don't forget to weigh your chairs down, because I forgot to weigh down the one chair. I thought I did, and I didn't, and it was like, flop. I was like, whoops. But, yeah, everything dried so quick. I did all of the laundry on Wednesday because it was just so beautiful out, and I knew that the forecast was saying it was going to rain for the rest of the week, basically. So that worked out really, really well. Saved myself $6 extra doing that. So that was Wednesday. Now, like I said, I could have waited till Thursday, but I had that one beautiful day, and I wanted to exploit the beautiful weather to get the laundry done. So I think it took me like 12 minutes collectively to get a load of laundry, a load of diapers washed. Regular laundry went even faster because I didn't have to pre-rinse them, and they rinsed out much better the second time, or the first time. They rinsed out much better, so I didn't have to do any more than one rinse for those, which was cool. And what else was there? When it came to the rest of the week, I was able to make everything stretch the rest of the week. The laundry, the diapers, everything lasted the rest of the week. I didn't have to wash any more than twice. It took me, when I did it by hand, I could do it right there in my room and get it done within 15 minutes and get them hung up to dry. When it came to drying, though, on days that it was worse for wear weather, give me the detergent. On days that it was worse weather, I was worried about the diapers drying inside, because if the AC is on, what is the air moist, like things like that, I was just concerned about. But because the air is actually relatively dry inside the resort, surprisingly dry, everything dried really well. I was shocked. I hung up the things to dry and woke up the next morning, went to breakfast, went to the park, came back, and things were dry. 24 hours later, everything was dry. So that hanging them inside, even if you have foul weather and you can't use the outside air to dry, they still dried really fast. So Wednesday I did the laundry. Thursday, Friday, Everything went as usual, and then by Saturday I was running low on diapers, but I knew I had just enough to come home with, and then I could just wash the rest of my machine at home, which then leads me to bringing the diapers home. Bringing the diapers home was definitely very much different than taking the diapers there. First of all, when it came to the vacuum seal bags, we had to manually press out as much air as possible as opposed to actually utilizing the vacuum, which honestly wasn't that big of a deal. When it came to bringing things back too, I had to bring back most of the stuff in the wet bags. I couldn't pack the wet bag like separate, or that is, I couldn't fold it up and lay it in there. I had all these dirty diapers. And yes, I brought home dirty diapers as carry-on onto an airplane. And I was laughing to myself the whole time I was accidentally bumping into people with my bags and stuff, like laughing at myself, thinking that I'm just smacking all these dirty diapers into people and they're so oblivious. But I brought them home in their wet bags, in the vacuum seal bags. And whatever did not fit in the wet bags to go in the vacuum seal bag was then just put into one of the small wet bags and stuffed into one of the diaper bags we then carried home. So I had enough diapers to come home with, and what was nice was that, you know, I didn't have to worry about, oh my gosh, I'm almost out of diapers, what am I going to do when I get home, because I had a whole arsenal of diapers waiting on the line for me at home. So we didn't get home till late at night, came home, changed them into a bedtime diaper, and put all those, that was the first, it was nice having knowing exactly what bag they were in, just being able to pull them out, dump them right into the machine and get them started that night. And everything got washed before I even went to bed, which was nice. And then of course, you know, I took the laundry down off the basement line. And the time it took my husband to go get us some dinner, I got the laundry off the line, the new laundry into the soiled laundry into the machine, and then my kids were changed and dry and all was well in the world. So bringing them home and transitioning and everything actually went much smoother than I thought. It was different getting everything put together because I had to reorganize how things went, because these were all dirty diapers, not clean diapers. But honestly, it wasn't a problem bringing home dirty diapers. It went pretty smoothly. It wasn't stinky. It wasn't like bothersome to people. So all in all, when it comes to taking cloth diapers on vacation, other than just adjusting to the new environment, nothing was really different. And nothing was really all as difficult as I was kind of impressed upon by other people who thought, like, why would you want to do that and torture yourself? You're on vacation. And it's like, well, this is my kids' vacation too, and I want them to be as comfortable as possible, you know? If they're not comfortable, I'm not either, because they make sure to let me know. I think we have a tendency to over dramatize how hard things can be sometimes. If anything was really the hassle for me, it was the moment that I had to resort to disposables. So overall, the hardest part of taking this, taking cloth diapers to Disney was hands down transporting them. Only because I had so many little kids and so many carry-on bags, and I refused to check a bag. And in hindsight, if I could hop back in time, I would probably check a bag. And you might be thinking, well, if you're going to have to pay $50, shouldn't you just take disposables then and not have to spend the $50 on the checked bag? But that's not, cloth diapers were not the only thing creating the extra grievance for me. I would have already done it whether I've taken disposables or not, because we had so many bags. We had 9 bags. Me and my husband, you figure, I'm toting the infant carrier, and I have a diaper bag around my, across my chest, and I've got 2 backpacks on my back. My husband's got 3 backpacks on his back, because he had my mini one too, and the other diaper bag, and he was pushing the stroller with my daughter, and there was the wheelie suitcase thing too. So, and then I think something else. Like, we were trying to hook things onto onto that suitcase and everything, but what happened was with plane hopping, we had to try to like grab everything really quick, get to the other plane and put everything on so fast that we didn't really have time to collect ourselves and put things onto this or that or carry it. We didn't have enough time to do that. We were booking it from one plane to the next, plowing through people with all these bags attached to us because our younger kids couldn't carry any of it except maybe one bag. I did get one kid to carry a backpack. But they also had their own like stuffed animals they had from Disney or their own little toy or something, and we couldn't just dump these big heavy bags on them. So in hindsight, what made cloth diapering the hardest wasn't even because of the cloth diapering per se. It was just generally having all those bags and having to tote those too. So in hindsight, I would just, if I could hop back in time, I would just check a bag. I would still take my cloth diapers and I would still take them carry-on. The one thing you never want to do is lose your diapers. You don't want to check that and then get lost luggage. I've had lost luggage before. I couldn't even imagine coming home from vacation only to find out, oh, those dirty diapers that were in your suitcase, they're missing. You might get them next week. Yeah, you don't want that to happen. Don't let that be you. If you take cloth diapers with you on a plane, carry on. All right? Now, as far as what was the easiest part of cloth diapering on vacation? Everything else. There really wasn't anything difficult about doing it. It was, like I said, not really any different than what I was doing at home already. In fact, actually, washing them was probably a lot easier than doing it at home because outside of my machine, I mean, I'm used to hand washing diapers. Washing them was really quick and easy. It was quicker than when I used my machine at home. But, I mean, using them, it was no harder than it normally is. It was all fairly easy. So the easiest part was pretty much just using them. What would I do the same is simple. I would stick to everything that I was comfortable using, and I would make sure that I would try something like disposable liners before I go. I might throw in fleece liners, like micro fleece liners, to take with me next time to make cleaning a little easier if I was to go again. But hands down, I would absolutely hand wash my diapers again next time I go. If I was to go again, I would definitely hand wash. I would definitely take flats again, definitely take wool covers again, definitely take the POL as well. Take the pocket diapers for my daughter, but I would make sure to stuff them with the flats instead. And I would make sure to take the same kind of detergent again, the same way I did before. All of that stuff was very successful. And the clips, not spider clips, now I'm calling it, I can't function. But the laundry clips and even the laundry line, all of those things, I would do that again. Absolutely. They were very successful. But what I would do differently, well, actually, the only things that I would do differently would have to be, like I said, checking a bag to make the burden less obnoxious for me and my husband. We would probably check a bag. And I would forgo the disposable liners. I would bring micro fleece liners instead. And really, other than that, there isn't a whole lot I would change. Everything worked out really well. I probably would leave the all-in-ones too, because I didn't really, they were good for overnight, but I could make the flats work for overnight. And I would probably just, in the future, I would just forego the all-in-ones, just bring the pocket diapers, because even if you're used to all-in-ones, if you want something that's going to wash out really well, pocket diapers and flats, you figure it's only going to be for while you're on vacation that you would have to stuff them if that bothers you. So, I mean, it's, I wouldn't really change much with what I did. I'm actually kind of surprised about that. I kind of over-prepared, I think, a little bit. But at the same time, a lot of the stuff I thought I did overkill was actually spot on. So, better safe than sorry. You cannot... You can overpack, but not for a baby. It's really hard to overpack for a baby, in my opinion, especially when it comes to diapers. But I think the only real big thing I would change, was I wouldn't leave my bag at the resort. That was awful. When I left my diaper bag at the resort and went to Hollywood Studios, that was the worst experience ever. So anyways, if you found any of this information useful, you can go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Comment, let me know if there's anything that I didn't touch on that you're more interested in, or if there's any other videos that you would like to see. And don't forget to subscribe, because I will be posting some more videos. If I find more information or my other information about Disney, I might post that too. But this is what I have in the meantime. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later.